Royal shocker alert. Prince Harry's £10 million loan request just hit a massive roadblock. So what's the scoop?
Those royal accounts which show that the Prince of Wales funded the Sussexes until the summer of last year.
However, in this astounding clip from the couple's explosive interview with Oprah, Harry...
The illusion is crumbling, and fast. Prince Harry, once the beloved spare of the British monarchy, now finds himself coldly rebuffed by the very institutions he once took for granted. According to reports that have sent ripples through both royal and financial circles, Harry's request for a major UK loan was outright denied. This isn't a tabloid rumor. It's a seismic confirmation of what many have suspected. The uke of Sussex's post-royal life isn't just fraying at the seams, it's unraveling thread by thread.
Interesting sort of position that we find ourselves in, reporting on Harry and Meghan again, and we hear their explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey. We hear what they've been saying, which causes some sort of consternation between them and their family and the British public, of course.
After fleeing to California for freedom and multi-million-dollar deals, Harry is discovering that royalty doesn't pay the bills when the titles don't carry clout. And worse, his private financial details are now being exposed, revealing a stark contrast between Hollywood aspirations and fiscal reality. Let's dissect how a prince ended up knocking on bankers' doors and getting turned away like any other over-leveraged celebrity exile, without a stable income and with his royal status no longer tied to taxpayer support.
Yeah, look, I mean, this has all come out in what's called the Sovereign Grant Report. It comes out every year. It's the sort of part of public funding that pays for the monarchy. And alongside that, you get Clarence House's report about where their money came from in the Duchy of Cornwall. And it was during a briefing that we had with Clarence House in which it was pointed out to us that
Harry's application was deemed too risky. This is not a prince of power. This is a man watching his safety net snap. For a figure who once moved through corridors of privilege with impunity, the rejection is nothing short of humiliating. Harry and Meghan's post-royal narrative has leaned heavily on the idea that their financial independence is fueled by blockbuster deals. Spotify, Netflix, Penguin Random House. But the reality is more sobering. Spotify axed their $20 million deal after just one series of Meghan's podcast, citing underperformance. Netflix slashed their planned animation series Pearl. And while Harry's Heart of Invictus aired quietly, it didn't make a splash.
That Harry and Meghan did say quite clearly when they announced they wanted to leave the royal family that they wanted to be financially independent. And I sort of asked them, like, isn't there like a disconnect here between, on the one hand, Harry saying I was literally cut off financially by my family.
Even the couple's 2021 interview with Oprah, aired in prime time with maximum buzz, failed to convert into long-term financial sustainability. Multiple reports estimate the couple are sitting on debts of nearly £500,000, not counting mortgage payments on their Montecito mansion, which cost $14.7 million. The real question is, with income shrinking and expenses rising, was the UK loan a desperate attempt to plug widening gaps? The loan rejection is emblematic of a wider shift. UK institutions, once deferential to royal blood, are no longer making exceptions for Prince Harry. Gone are the days when he could lean on his Windsor surname to gain financial favor. Since their 2020 Megxit, the Sussexes have been treated not as royals, but as private individuals. One banking executive allegedly remarked, "He left the royal family. That comes with consequences. He gets no special consideration here."
Getting caught up, as Afia says, in semantics here. But the fact of the matter is, Harry feels he was cut off financially, and clearly Clarence House are saying a substantial sum was given. I mean, that in itself seems to be a discrepancy, Dickie.
It is a discrepancy, and Clarence House is not going to allow.
He gets no special consideration here. In other words, no working titles, no financial leniency. Even Diana's son isn't immune. And that line, harsh as it may sound, is exactly what the monarchy wanted to enforce.
Reports are buzzing that Prince Harry asked the UK government for a £10 million loan to boost his and Meghan's independent finances. But guess what? The request was flat out rejected. Why?
Once you walk away, you walk away. Harry's predicament isn't just financial, it's existential. Who is he without the royal coat of arms? A memoirist? A Netflix producer? A TED Talk spiritualist? The Sussexes have tried to build a brand of activism and media celebrity.
Funny. Harry, he was a little bit economical with the truth. Yes, in theory, he was cut off because he finished work in March. His last job, official job, was the 9th of March when he went to the Commonwealth Service at Westminster Abbey. After that, he was no longer...
But the lack of clear identity is finally catching up to them. Harry's value was always tied to the institution he now resents. And without it, he is floundering. And the worst part? The palace saw this coming. King Charles has refused to offer assistance, either in the form of security support or reintegration. Prince William reportedly wants nothing to do with it. What remains is a man adrift, rejected by the crown, turned away by bankers, and slowly eclipsed in relevance.
Summer, what is the summer? Meteorologically, it's the end of August. Astrologically, it's the end of September. By which time, if you take September, he'd signed a lucrative deal with Netflix, signed a lucrative deal at the end of the year with Spotify. You know, how long can a parent support a child? Yes, we're living in an age.
These first 4 revelations paint a damning portrait of a prince in free fall. Once hailed as the modern face of the monarchy, Harry is now discovering just how cold the world can be when the royal scaffolding is gone. His brand is faltering, his bank balance is shrinking, and even Britain's bankers have turned their backs. Coming up next, we'll explore how legal battles, security disputes, and Archewell's fundraising woes are driving the Sussexes deeper into crisis. Stay tuned. At the center of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's post-royal ambitions lies Archewell.
To Harry, and actually it feels like, is this the royal family sort of just striking back a touch at some of the things that we're hearing from America just with regards to the situation between Charles and Harry?
I think it's true to say that they used the opportunity of
their foundation/media empire, billed as a hub for compassion and action. Archewell promised to change lives through philanthropy and powerful storytelling. But behind the sleek branding, financial filings tell a less glamorous story. IRS documents for Archewell Foundation revealed that donations plunged by more than 80% between 2021 and 2022.
Down last year, which kind of reflects the fact that Harry and Meghan left. It went from 5.6 million to 4.5 million. But Harry and Meghan did leave. But we're talking here about the sort of transition money that Prince Charles gave to Harry and Meghan. And, you know, by all accounts, it's a substantial sum. I will just also pick up on something that...
The charity brought in just over $2 million in 2022, compared to over $13 million the year prior. This dramatic collapse in donor confidence sent shockwaves through non-profit circles, and was widely interpreted as a sign of waning public interest in the Sussex brand. Even worse, Archewell reportedly paid more to PR firms and consultants than it distributed in grants that year, leading some critics to label it more of a vanity vehicle than a philanthropic force. In short, the Sussexes have built a hollow empire, one more concerned with appearances than impact. That reality has undoubtedly factored into UK banks' decision to deny Harry financial leeway.
We should be clear here and point out that £2.4 million really helped to offset some of that pain.
Afia, how much would Harry and Meghan expect to still be supported financially when their aim is to stop being working royals and to be financially independent and strike?
While Harry's loan rejection highlights his financial desperation, his other ongoing legal fiasco, his lawsuit against the British government for security protection, underscores how out of touch he's become with both royal protocol and public sentiment. In 2020, Harry filed a legal challenge after the Home Office stripped him of automatic taxpayer-funded police protection. He argued that his safety was at risk when visiting the UK and offered to pay out of pocket for elite security access. However, in early 2024, The High Court dismissed his case outright. The judge's ruling was damning.
Insiders say the nature of the loan and today's tricky political climate made it too risky, or maybe too controversial. With no help from the UK, Harry and Meghan are back in the US hustle. Netflix, Spotify, Archewell, you name it. Their brand needs to prove it can stand on its own.
So at some point, that money, that tap was going to get turned off.
Absolutely. And I don't think at any point they wanted the tap to still be on. You know, they had a transition period.
Prince Harry seemed pretty upset about it in the Oprah interview.
Because he was so concerned about security.
Stating that Harry misunderstood the fundamental principles of state security and public resources. Legal costs associated with this failed litigation are estimated to exceed £1 million. And they're coming out of Harry's own pocket. To add insult to injury, this expensive defeat only reinforced the perception that he still expects royal privileges despite resigning from royal duties. This miscalculation wasn't just costly, it was humiliating. It proved Harry couldn't wield legal threats to claw back lost privileges, and it showcased his growing detachment from both British governance and financial prudence. One of the greatest symbols of Harry and Meghan's post-royal aspirations is their $14.7 million Montecito mansion. A sprawling 9-bedroom estate complete with rose gardens, tennis courts, and a chicken coop. Yet in the current financial climate, it may be more of a gilded cage than a sanctuary.
Meghan to go over there with a small child and a family, that is a hugely important part of what they need in their life.
Especially, he's talked so openly about his fears.
Yes. Security is hugely important, and security in this country is covered by the Home Office, i.e. Metropolitan Police. When they go abroad, if they're working members of the royal family, they're still covered by...
Maintaining the property costs upwards of $500,000 a year, between mortgage payments, staff, security, and upkeep. The couple secured a mortgage on the estate, which means they're likely still paying monthly installments, something that's far less feasible without consistent revenue from media projects or speaking gigs. Now that their brand is underperforming and their foundation is faltering, questions are mounting about whether they'll need to downsize. Real estate experts suggest the Montecito property could be difficult to resell at full value due to its highly specific design and location. It's a fitting metaphor for the Sussex predicament. Trapped in a mansion they can barely afford, still playing pretend royalty in a country that never crowned them. When Harry and Meghan first touched down in California, Hollywood courted them like royalty. Talent agencies, media moguls, and streaming giants were eager to strike deals. But 5 years later, the luster has worn off. Spotify terminated their $20 million podcast contract, calling the Sussexes grifters behind closed doors. Netflix shelved their cartoon project Pearl, citing creative differences and low return expectations. Even Meghan's attempt to launch a lifestyle brand has met lukewarm reception, with critics blasting it as derivative and disingenuous. More quietly, insiders now refer to the couple as high-risk clients. PR firms are increasingly wary of taking them on due to reputational concerns and an ever-growing list of legal entanglements. Their connection to the royal family no longer opens doors. It sparks controversy. Hollywood's interest was built on potential. Now that potential has been tested and largely failed, the Sussexes are no longer the lucrative investment they once seemed. Their future in entertainment is no longer guaranteed. It's uncertain and precariously close to irrelevant. This second phase of Harry's post-royal unraveling reveals a darker truth. His challenges go beyond a denied loan. His foundation is bleeding donors. His legal gambits are blowing up in court. His mansion is becoming a burden, and his star is fading in Hollywood. This isn't just a stumble. It's the slow, methodical collapse of an image and a lifestyle that was never sustainable without the Windsor name behind it. The loan rejection from UK institutions wasn't just a financial blow. It was a symbolic dagger straight to the heart of Prince Harry's fading connection to the monarchy. It marks a definitive turning point. the British establishment is not only done offering Harry protection, it's now unwilling to offer him even the courtesy of financial trust. Insiders confirm that Harry's appeal for a financial bridge, possibly to cover security or business-related costs, was met with firm resistance. One senior banking source reportedly stated, "He doesn't represent the institution anymore. He's a private citizen with a public liability." That cold truth has never been clearer. Harry is no longer royalty in the eyes of the establishment. He's a cautionary tale. This hardline rejection sends a powerful message not just to Harry, but to anyone watching from afar. The monarchy is drawing a hard line. Step down and you step out. No soft landing. No safety net. No special treatment. Not even for Diana's son. And for Harry, a man who once stood at the epicenter of British public life, that's more than a financial setback. It's a total identity crisis. The doors to his past life, his royal status, access, influence, are closed. And he's not getting back in. Perhaps most devastating of all is what this entire financial meltdown says about Prince Harry's legacy. Once admired as the charming spare with a common touch, Harry's descent into lawsuits, vanity media projects, and desperate money grabs has stripped away the goodwill he spent decades building. His public image is now fractured beyond repair. In the UK, polling consistently shows him among the least popular royals. In the US, his support is plummeting, especially among the younger demographics he and Meghan once believed they could galvanize. Instead of inspiring admiration, Harry evokes pity, skepticism, or worse, mockery. And then there's the long-term damage. No matter what PR team he hires, no matter how many docuseries he narrates about healing, the world has seen behind the curtain. The lavish lifestyle, the private jet sermons, the hypocrisy, it's all out there. Public perception is crystallizing around one core idea. Harry wanted the perks of royalty without the duty. And when denied, he went scorched earth. There's still time for Harry to rebuild, but it won't be as a prince. Not anymore. He's been rejected by the crown, the courts, the banks, and increasingly the public.
If you're all about royal drama, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss this saga. Prince Harry's denied loan isn't just a financial hiccup, it's a symbol of the growing rift between the Sussexes and the UK establishment. Will this spark new ventures or deeper divides? One thing's for sure, the story isn't over yet. Thanks for watching. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should the UK have approved the loan? Or was it the right call? Let's talk.